think the students suffer because of that, because our schools are depleted of resources, and also, which includes teachers, which includes school supplies, which includes technology, and so that really affects the students.
My transition was very difficult. The culture, there weren't that many people with my background, so I really couldn't relate to other people.
My name's Giselle. I'm a senior, 12th grade, and I've been here for 4 years.
My name is Sochi Fernandez. I'm a senior here at Wilson High School, and I've been attending Wilson for the past 4 years. I chose to come to Wilson because it's the closest high school to me.
The average amount of students I have per class would be 40 to 50 students. My biggest class would have to be around 45, and my smallest would have to be 35 at least. I definitely do think the size of class affects my ability to learn, just for the fact that one teacher would have to be controlling 40, 50 students, and if it were to be less students, then it'd be easier for her to get onto the lesson really quick and actually start learning.
The biggest class I've had was like 50 kids. This was an elective, and even now, like, electives are big, which it doesn't make any sense because the teachers get upset and then they stop teaching because it's so noisy. But then the smallest class I think I've had was like 14 kids. This was an AP class.
My smallest class is about 12 students with AP Econ, and my largest class is probably painting with about 40 students. They can talk and teach the lesson, but the problem is getting that information into the student's head. A lot of the times when there's a lot going on, and especially with big class sizes, a lot of distractions, that information is not always going to sink into students' brain. And even then, if a student wants individual help because there's so much going on, they can't adequately teach every single student and really go over topics that they're not clear with, versus in a smaller class size where you have a much more intimate group, so it'd be easier for the teacher to get the information across.
Well, I come from a very big family. I'm number 8 out of 11 kids, and my dad's the only one that works, so it's harder to be able to get a second higher education from high school because the money's not there. So it's, when I was applying and doing financial aid, it was really hard to be able to tell my parents I want to go to this school or this school. I kind of felt like I didn't want to go to such a prestigious school because of the money. But Wilson, one thing that they have helped me with is scholarships and telling me that there are other resources. So I feel like this school has prepared me in the sense of going to college and helping me keep me motivated so that I can actually do better.
The issue of poverty and income and how it relates to a student's ability to achieve is interesting and certainly complicated, to say the least. I would say I've seen so many very talented, very smart, really gifted students who just struggle with a lack of resources, with poor time management, and oftentimes I think the low income piece somewhat limits students from understanding like what's possible, or being that we're predominantly low income here at Wilson, I think it's very easy to have an insulating factor to where everyone else is fairly similar. Like there's a few families that aren't low income for sure, but for the most part, most folks grow up roughly the same. And so it's easy to think that that's just the world is like this, and not understand that people have many advantages or have very different experiences, and so sometimes the perspective and the outlook can be somewhat limited for the students themselves. And it's like once they get out of the community and go off to college and things like that, then they're like, oh wow, like I see actual like diversity and like different perspectives of people and stuff in that nature. And so it's definitely like a struggle for multiple reasons in that sense, but it's not like a limiting factor necessarily where it's like you're not as good or you're not going to achieve as much after high school or anything in that nature. But it certainly plays a part for an individual student, absolutely.
When there's no money, you start by cutting in the classroom. You cut teachers, your class size increases. You cut counselors, your ratio increases. So there's that. It just totally is it's just a whirlwind of one thing to another. It's just a lot of it affects the kids directly. If you're sitting in a classroom of 38, 40 kids, how can you learn? How can you get access to your teacher? And then what about the English language learners and our special education students? They're even more at a disadvantage. I mean, if you don't have the resources, you're at a disadvantage. You're not in the same level playing field as other students. If you don't have a computer to do your work, or if you don't have some of the tools that are needed now in today's educational setting, it's going to be hard. You're not in the same level playing field. And I see that our kids are coming oftentimes not having had a meal. So how could you expect them to be ready for school? How can you expect them to worry about the calculator, the computer that they need to have to finish an assignment? So oftentimes they don't do their work.
I think I am. I really do. Because you don't have as many resources, you don't have as much opportunity, you don't have the means to be able to hire a tutor and to be able to buy that $600 prom dress that you've always wanted. You don't have the opportunity to thrive in an environment that I guess is as welcoming. You don't have to stay up to 2 a.m. because you have to babysit your siblings and do homework. You don't have to worry about your block being closed down because some kid got shot up on the corner. You don't have to worry about things like that when you're in an affluent community. But when you're in a low-income community like this, those are the things that you have to worry about, and that impacts how you succeed.
My advice would be to try your best and then look for the people, find, how would I say it? Find support in certain administrators, and you're not always gonna have the principal around and or an admin around to help you. So you have to do your best to go out and find those people and reach out to those people, because if you don't, you're never gonna be able to get your opinion voiced.
A tip that I would tell to the incoming students here at Wilson would be to have that personal relationship with the teachers, counselors, and even principal if you can, and simply talk to them about your personal life, not just educational-wise, because it will help a lot when it comes to your senior year or junior year and you need to start applying to colleges.
I think it's just don't give up, because that's one thing that I was pondering on last year when I first came here. It was, I don't want to come here. It's just, this school doesn't have what I was looking for. And I was just thinking, transferring was going to solve all my problems, or being homeschooled was going to solve all my problems. But I realized there's a tight-knit community within low-income students. And you're not going to get the same help, the same security that you feel when you're with people like you and going through the same struggles. You definitely learn how to help each other.